Good evening, everyone. Sitting here on a glorious Wednesday night in a pretty chilly Columbus, Ohio. Came home from work today and had a water line bust in our apartment complex, and we have a 15-foot geyser going off outside right now. So not exactly what I was looking forward to, but nonetheless, we're here with another edition of our NASCAR for Beginners. January 21st, we're cranking up. Got the first race, non-points paying race. It's kind of an exhibition race, kind of get the juices flowing again. Coming up on Sunday, February 1st. It'll be on Fox at 6 p.m. will be the last qualifier, and at 8 p.m. on Fox should be the main event. It's at Bowman Gray Stadium, nicknamed the Madhouse. It's going to be pretty fun and exciting. Don't put a lot of stock into who wins or who does what. It's just kind of, like I said, it gets to going. And then, of course, the week after that, you have the NFL does their Super Bowl. And the week after that, Daytona kicks off the main event racing for the NASCAR season. So we'll go through it a little bit here. I've mentioned on the previous episodes about the fan rewards app. We kind of walked through some of that if you go watch previous episodes. That's where I was laying out, that's where you get all your points, accumulate the points throughout the year by doing different things. One of the things we'll talk about is the fantasy teams you can do to get points. You can, like I said, answer questions. Right now it's every Tuesday and Thursday. They put out a new question. And then, throughout the season, just simply, going to the check-in screen, which I'll get into more next week and the week after. But I'm going to share my screen and bring up kind of what we're looking at here. So just bear with me for 1 second. So when you either go to the app or NASCAR.com, this is what you're going to come up with, the mobile app or this. And it's got all your stuff up here. You can go look at the schedule, the standings, all this stuff. But this little icon right over here, this little dude right here, that's your login, obviously. Comes up. So, the app refresh or the site refreshed shortly after the first of the year. I'm already sitting at 91 points. Doesn't seem like a lot. You need 5,000 for a set of tickets, for 2 tickets to a race. But will skyrocket fast. And believe it or not, people that join right now will fly past me for now. Even though I'm a champion level and you'd be at the rookie level, but you get like 250 points for setting up your profile. You get bonus points for creating a fantasy team. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But you just go through and fill out all the information. You can see your name, username, password, all that good stuff. Your favorite manufacturer. You can do your favorite driver. There's mine right there. And then I check these boxes too, because they give you bonus points for checking all these boxes. I tell people all the time, if you don't want to get, you don't get a lot of emails from them. It's not like you're going to get spammed every day, but you could get a few. And I always tell people, if you want, use a fake email, create a new email just for this site, but it's not anything that is a lot. I don't even get that many, and I've got them all. And then, of course, it shows you your favorite driver again. That's your main thing. Now, if you go, that's just your like information. But if you go to view dashboard, it'll come up again, your points, what level you are. If you get promo codes, which these will come in those emails, you get a monthly fan rewards newsletter. If you go to a race, there's going to be promo codes around the racetrack you can use. Certain different, Ford might send out a thing, or you might see something during a race. So just different things. This is the question from yesterday still. The answer is Team Penske. For a rookie driver, that'll give you 10 points. When you move up to all-star, it'll give you 11. And when you move up to champion, it'll give you 13. You get bonus points, percentage bonus points. They've got a rewards catalog, which I bet is going to throw an error code. Yep, because they haven't refreshed it yet. You earn badges, and this is how you earn points. I mean, here's the past 30 days activity. And you can hit see more, and you can see from the past 30 days, this is what I've done. This is going back to last year. But you can see starting 1/6 is when it refreshed. So there's all my points for this year. And if you missed points or you feel like they didn't give you points, you go here and figure it all, and they'll adjust it. So people may want to say, well, how else can you earn points? Well, there's a little tab that says earn points. You scroll down. Obviously, promo code again. Earn 250 points when you complete your full fan reward profile. Watching the race this weekend. So I don't know. Last year it didn't work for the Clash. It might this year. I don't know. We'll have to just play that by ear. But let's just say February 15th, Daytona 500. When, to be honest, that's the Daytona 500. But there's going to be a race Friday and a race Saturday and a race Sunday that weekend. You can check into Friday's Truck Series race. And that gets you 50 points. You check into Saturday's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, that earns you 50 points. You check in Sunday, that's 50 points. That's 150 points in a weekend. And that's pretty much every weekend. So that's how you can see it doesn't take long to accumulate a lot of points. Plus, let's say you check in for 5 races in a row in each series. That's bonus points. So not only do you get the 50, but you get like 10 points for a bonus streak. And then if you do 10, you get like 20 points. And then you get, for every streak, if you do a perfect season, it's like 500 bonus points. Signing up to those newsletters I checked, 150 points. If you go to a race, you go on the NASCAR track app. It's a different app, but it's fine. You check in on there with your fan reward stuff, and it's all linked together. You get 200 for the Cup Series, 150 and 100 for the Truck Series. Earn your 10 points with the quizzes and polls I was mentioning a minute ago. So 10 points every 2 days, every Tuesday and Thursday. Sorry. If you get the premium app, which is a subscription based, I think it's $4.99 a month. It could have gone up by now, but it's not too bad. But you get 50 points every month. You have that. If you go to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte, North Carolina, which you've heard me talk about on previous episodes, that's 100 points. You'll get a code when you go there for it. New users earn 100 points when you use your Fan Rewards associated email to join a fantasy racing team. And I have a group, NASCAR Fantasy Weekly Racing. Setting your NASCAR fantasy lineup every week gets you 10 points, plus you get bonus points for the more weeks you do it in a row. There it is. Fantasy 5 times, 50 points, 10 times, 100 points. Race tickets, 100 points if you buy them. Make a donation of 25 or more, get 50 points to the NASCAR Foundation. I mean, you can just look through all this, different ways to earn all these different points. And the streaks are more than 5 and more than 10. They go up all the way for the check-ins, the leaderboards, all that stuff. You all like this one right here will be the same thing. The more check-ins you do in a row, the more your bonus points will be. Badges, they're just something to have. Offers, there's different offers from things. There's the rewards catalog again, which even with this tab still says bad request. My profile, about, you can make changes to your stuff. So that's the Fan Rewards app. That's how that all works, and that's your points. And like I said, when the rewards catalog refreshes, it gets a little bit. That's where you get stuff. I mean, and it's not just race tickets you can get. You can get autographed merchandise. You can get all kinds of stuff. There was one time on there was a set of used race tires off of like Chase Elliott's car for like 10,000 points. And it seems crazy, but I mean, I was up over 13,000 last year. So it's easy to do. Let me see. So, see, we got some people in the comments already. You got W. Robert with WTP Sports Dudes and WTP for Life, and our buddy Doug Jones down there, my local Houston boy. So that's where we're sitting right now, real quick, with the Fan Rewards app. I'll get into the fantasy here in a second, but I'm going to go jump on some of these comments. So our buddy Robert says, do teams try and block other drivers from other teams when one of their team is in the lead or near the lead? Yes. They just have to do it without getting caught doing it. NASCAR has been known to penalize teams for race manipulation, whether that means blocking another driver from getting in front of you to get to the lead, or your teammate needs a caution flag to reset because he's not having a good go, so you spin yourself out because you're out of contention anyway. NASCAR is pretty keen on some of that stuff, and they don't play too well with race manipulation. In fact, it happened 2024 at, I think it was Martinsville, the track I just happened to be going to in March. But it was down between, trying to remember who it was real quick. Bear with me. There was two drivers, and it was the last race to go into the championship 4. And it was, I think, William Byron and Christopher Bell. And I think 2 of the Toyota teammates started blocking the other people from being able to advance because they needed one more position or something. And NASCAR said it just wasn't right. So they kicked him and let the other guy go on in the playoffs. So they try it, but you have to do it pretty sneakily, I guess would be the word. But the difference with it is even though they're teammates, a lot of, and now that they've changed the format, let me go ahead and say this too, and there's no more of this win and in and advance and all this. I think it's going to eliminate a bunch of that. But even though they're teammates, every team pretty much has the rule of don't wreck your teammate early in a race, but at the end, it's every man for himself. There's no holds barred. It's whatever. They still don't, like Roger Penske has told his guys, I don't care what you do to each, I mean, just don't wreck each other. Even going for the win, Roger Penske would rather have Ryan Blaney just stay in second instead of wrecking both cars. Some other owners, Joe Gibbs, is like, I don't really care. If you're fighting for the win, fight for the win. So it's kind of however each want to do it. Another quick question from Robert here is, are the teams close in comparison, or are some teams way better when it comes to drivers and the technology? So you got 3 manufacturers in the Cup Series. Ford, Chevy, Toyota. Each of those manufacturers are teams that, there's multiple teams for each manufacturer. But we're going to look at Chevy, for example. The main Chevy team is Hendrick. Well, Hendrick is going to get more support from Chevy than, I'm going to throw out a Haas factory team. They just switched to Chevy this year. But Hendrick is going to get more support from Chevy, more simulator time from Chevy, things like that. Penske is the big Ford flagship team. They're going to get the most resources from Ford. And then Joe Gibbs would be Toyota. So, yeah, I mean, they get more from the manufacturer, but the difference with the whole point of that is drivers can be the same talent, and the cars are pretty well similar in NASCAR too. There's very few things that you can change. And so it comes down to a lot to your crew chief making the right adjustments to the car with, springs and air pressures and all these different things that they control. But Uh, as far as drivers go, obviously the bigger teams are going to have first pull. It's not like a draft where you draft players. It's just pretty much free agency. If I want to go get Chase Elliott away from Hendrick Motorsports, it's going to cost you a lot of money. But you have to know that even the lower drivers in the NASCAR series, I'm just going to take Cody Ware for an example, and it's nothing against Cody Ware. I love Cody Ware. He's great. But it's his dad, Rick Ware Racing. It's him and his dad, and they own a one car. I think it's the number 51 car. It's never real good. He doesn't get all the support they need from the big manufacturers because they're a one car team, so they don't get a lot of support. They get some, but they don't get a lot. They get so that's why like Josh Berry, my driver, he's with the Wood Brothers. They're a one car team, and they're with Ford. But the difference is they have an alliance with Penske, so they share knowledge. Penske helps the Wood Brothers and stuff. So it's kind of one of those things. And there's alliances all over the place. Small teams have alliances with big teams to kind of help with sim time and all this other stuff. So the big teams are pretty even in comparison. But the smaller teams and the mid-tier teams is kind of where you see the gap disparity between some of them. Even a Richard Childress Racing, who used to be Dale Earnhardt when he was alive driving, drove for Richard Childress. And he was good back then. And Richard Childress is like a middle of the pack type team right now, middle to back of the pack. They don't have a lot of success, but they're still one of the Chevy teams, but they're not quite as big as the big boys. Our buddy Doug wanted to pop up with good evening. What does Truck Series look like? I mean, it's the same. It's just trucks, not cars. It will have 4 manufacturers this year. Dodge is making their return. The Ram is making its return to NASCAR in the Truck Series. I know Tony Stewart is going to be driving one of their trucks at Daytona. They're back in, so it's obviously Ford with the F-150, Chevy Silverado, Toyota Tundra, and then the Ram from Dodge are the 4 manufacturers in that series. All of the other series, the O'Reillys and Cup only have 3. I expect Dodge to be in those series in the next couple of years. So, but I mean, it's the trucks. I mean, the Truck Series, if a race on the Cup Series is 300 laps, a race in the Truck Series is probably 100. It's kind of like the minor league, like it's almost like AA baseball. And then the O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series would be AAA baseball. And then the Cup Series would be Major League Baseball. It's kind of where a lot of your younger kids are I think you can be 16, 15 and drive in the NASCAR Truck Series. I need to look into that. I know they've changed some of the rules for ages and stuff in different things. I think to race Daytona, I think to race in the Cup Series, you have to be 18. And there's some other stuff. I need to look more into that, and I'll probably look into that for another episode of this. But the Truck Series is pretty fun. Beating and banging. Pretty fun. I'm not going to lie. Truck Series are good races to go to. Especially if you get a good Truck Series race. They're also a lot cheaper to go to too, by the way. So yeah, that's the Truck Series. They're pretty cool. The Truck Series will be racing Friday at Daytona, Friday night. And then the Xfinity Series, or the O'Reilly's, Auto Parts Series, will race Saturday at Daytona. and then the Cup Series on Sunday. And that's typically how it goes. It's normally trucks Friday, O'Reilly Saturday, Cup is Sunday. Now, if the Cup is racing on Saturday, then sometimes it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And sometimes it's only the trucks and the Cup cars. And sometimes it's O'Reilly. And the NASCAR series is 26 regular season races. The other series are less. So they have a lot more breaks in between their races. So jumping back over, we'll jump back over to, I'll bring my screen back up again. Come on, there we go. So when you go on your profile, you'll see all that stuff. Like I said, you can go back to my dashboard and it'll pop up. And then you've got the tab Fantasy. So you click that and you'll see Fantasy Live. Now, this, we'll get to this one last because this is the one that's going to take the most. This is kind of like a Survivor Series. There's 36 drivers in NASCAR, and there's 36 races. I said 26 in the regular season a minute ago. There's 26 regular season and then 10 playoff races or chase races, which is 36. So for each race, you select one driver and you earn points. That's kind of what that is. But you can only use, I can only use Denny Hamlin for one race. I can only use Josh Berry for one race. So you pick a race that you hope that driver does good in. Throw a dart. It's just about the same luck. This is a bracket challenge. Everybody loves brackets, right? Well, in the middle of the season, NASCAR has a tournament bracket style, and it's, head to head. Whoever finishes higher in that matchup advances all the way through, and the winner gets $1 million. The winning driver gets $1 million. But it's kind of fun. Fill out a bracket. Like I said, everybody loves to fill out brackets. I can tell you I filled out a bracket last year. Didn't do well. Almost everybody had a bad one because the first race was Atlanta, and 27 of the drivers were involved in a wreck on lap 3. So it destroyed a lot of brackets. That was at 16 over a 1 and a 15 over a 2 in the same year. So it's a little crazy to try, but it's fun. And then you've got the fantasy one, which is the one I was talking about earlier, where let me click on it. So it's going to come up with this stupid little thing because it's not even available till February 10th to set your Daytona roster. But if you look, you've got driver 1, 2, there's 3 here, 4 here, 5 here, and then a G for garage. So you select the driver. Now you can use each driver 10 times in the regular season. So let's say this is going to be Josh Berry. Okay. So I put Josh Berry here, and then I fill this in with 4 other people. Well, then I pick Josh Berry. So that means I only have 9 races left for any of these drivers for the regular season. So you can't just use the same lineup throughout all 26 races. So you have to be able to move people around. Now, even if you put him in the garage, it still counts against as a use. So let's say this is Josh Berry, and then we're just going to throw Denny Hamlin in here. Well, let's say at Daytona on lap 42, Josh Berry wrecks. Well, as long as it's before the stage 3 of the races, and if you go back and watch, it'll explain stage racing. Before stage 3 starts, I can go pull him out and put Denny Hamlin in and pull Josh Berry to the garage. Then I'll get the points he gets versus what he gets. And if he crashes on lap 42 and finishes 30th place and he's in the race till the end and comes in 7th, well, I just got all 7th place points versus these points. So that's how you do that. There will also be, I wish I could get this thing to go away, but there will also be head-to-head questions underneath when you set your stuff. There'll be head-to-head questions like, will Josh Berry beat Denny Hamlin? will Ryan Blaney beat Chase Briscoe? And you just pick who you think is going to finish better out of those 4. And for every one you get right, you get 10 points. So you have an option to get, you're going to get your 50 points for playing. And then you're going to get a chance to get another 40 points if you get all 4 of those other matchups right. So there's, plus your 50 points for checking into the race, just hitting check in. You're talking 140 points in a week and just for one race. So, pretty easy to earn points that way. You can join a league, which anybody watching this, if you would like, there is a group right here. This is the league name, WTP Sports Dudes. I didn't really worry about mottos or anything like that. The league is private. I can give you the password. You can message me on YouTube. You can go look at the WTP Sports Dudes Facebook page, and the password is posted there. But anybody, you just go in, create entry. You can see my entries here. I have 2. This is my main, and then this is the one I created for us right here. It keeps up with overall standings. Let me see here. Let me go back a page. League. There we go. So, it only shows me in the league right now, which is fine. You can check on your roster, which doesn't do anything around overall standings. This is just, everybody has 0 points, obviously. League we already did. Stats, it'll give you, how Kyle Larson has done. None of these are right. This is all from last year. He was your champion last year. But that's how many fantasy points they earned last year. So if you're going to play, you can go look and kind of see odds. There's just different ways. By DraftKings, apparently they put betting on here now. And there's a fantasy hub, which goes you back to this page. So that's the fantasy stuff. I'm always available. And like I said, if you comment, question on your YouTube stuff, you can always, I'll respond. Like I said, you can go into the Facebook page. There's a post there that's got the group name, and the password is all right there for people to join. It's just something fun. I figured, why not? The WTP Sports Dudes, we all have a good time getting together and doing stuff and talking ball and all kinds of sports, obviously. So I figured I'd try something a little different. And this is something that most people aren't huge into right now. But I think once people go to a race, especially if you can go for free, I think people will be hooked more. So that's one reason I decided to kind of throw this together. So that's pretty much it for how the fantasy group works. No new questions yet. That's fine. Going through some teams to keep an eye on for me, Ken, and this is kind of going to be my preview section of the upcoming season. So your teams to watch for, I've already mentioned a couple of them. Well, I've already mentioned 3 of them. Hendrick, Penske, Joe Gibbs. I'm really interested this year to watch Trackhouse racing. Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen. Really, really curious to see how they do. And Connor Zilic. He's a 19-year-old rookie. He's a phenomenal driver for 19 years old. We'll see how he does in the Cup Series. Those are probably some of those are the main bigger teams, but one team that is kind of a sleeper team for me is going to be RFK Racing, which stands for Roush Fenway Keselowski. I'm really interested in that team. They have a a native Texan on there, which is one reason, Chris Buescher. And they also have a guy who I really, really like and just root for. His name's Ryan Preece. If you go look at some videos on my channel, you'll see some NASCAR videos. And one, there's a Daytona race in there where you see a car just doing barrel rolls, flipping. That's Ryan Preece. He did like 15 barrel rolls down that back stretch, down the stretch of where he was in the infield. I don't remember if it was the back stretch or the front stretch, but it was insane. It was a bad wreck, but he raced the next weekend. So kind of always rooted for him. He used to drive at Stewart Haas Racing, where my old driver, Kevin Harvick, was. So I've always rooted for Ryan Preece, like Chris Buescher. Again, native Texan, got to go with the Texans. Got to stick together. So those are some of the teams I'm looking for. Some of the drivers to watch. This is an easy thing to do, even for even a casual NASCAR fan, because most people are going to tell you, well, watch Kyle Larson, watch William Byron, watch Ryan Blaney. Well, those are easy. Those are some of your bigger names in the sport. I'm really curious to watch. Well, I mentioned Ryan Preece. I really want to see Shane Van Gisbergen, SVG as he's known, and trust me, it's easier to say. I really want to see what he can do. He came from the Australian Supercar Series. He's dominant on road course racing, but I want to see his progression on the ovals and see if he gets any better. He came on a little more at the end of the year last year, like he's starting to figure out the oval racing. He dominated road courses. I think he won 5 out of 6 last year. So, and it was dominating fashion. I'm really curious on him. Really, I mean, he's one I'm watching. I want to see Kyle Busch to see what kind of response we get from him. Last year was the first year he's gone winless. He's another one I'm going to keep an eye on. Ty Gibbs. Joe Gibbs' grandson. He was supposed to be the phenom coming up and all this, and he's good. Don't get me wrong, but everybody expected him to already have a couple of wins, and he's still out there searching for his first Cup Series win. I want to see if he can get one this year. Chase Briscoe moved from Stewart Haas Racing when they closed over to the number 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Chase Briscoe had a really, really, really solid year last year. And I've always liked Chase Briscoe. I'm curious, can he back it up this year? Can he get better this year? Last year, first year with a new team, learning curves, things like that. So I'm curious to see, can he step it up another notch or where we're at? I mentioned Ryan Preece early. I'm not going to mention Josh Berry. We all know I'm pulling for him because he's my driver. A good one to watch, especially if you're a new NASCAR fan and you're trying to find somebody. I can tell you, look for the younger people if you're new to the sport, because somebody like a Kyle Busch or a Denny Hamlin could be retiring in a couple years. And then you're going to be like, well, who do I root for now? Somebody to watch. Ty Gibbs, I mentioned, is younger. Chris Buescher will be around for a little while. But Carson Hocevar, and I mentioned Connor Zilisch earlier too. Carson Hocevar has got a ton of talent. Younger kid, drives really aggressively. So some people like it, some people don't. So those are some of the younger kids, and you'll learn who the younger kids are if you watch a couple races. You'll start figuring out. And I tell people, when you fill out your profile on the Fan App Rewards, you can select a driver for your favorite. It doesn't mean that's your favorite. You can just select one just to finish your profile. But don't think you have to select a driver. Don't think you have to select a driver that's in the front all the time. Because I promise you, he's not going to be in the front all the time. There's going to be times where he's going to be at the back. He's going to wreck on lap 4. So I always tell people I like a manufacturer. Josh Berry does drive a Ford, but I root for the Fords more than anything. But a lot of people pick their driver just watching a race, and one certain car will have a paint scheme that'll just jump out at you. That's how I started liking the Fords. Back in the day, and I've mentioned it before, there was a black Ford, and I want to say it was either a Thunderbird or a Taurus back then. I don't even remember what they driven so many different styles. But it was a black car with a big orange Texaco star on the hood, and it just looked great. And I just fell in love with that car and got locked in. And then that driver unfortunately passed away in a helicopter accident. And then another car came up, and it was a black car with purple lightning bolts, Xi batteries going down. So you don't even necessarily have to have a favorite driver. You can have a favorite team. You can just enjoy the sport. If you get locked into the sport, watch it for a couple of years. You may not even, have a favorite driver of the first year or even the second year. But eventually you're going to be like, I like this kid. This kid's good. So, but it's not like a need. You don't have to. But for the fan rewards app, I would suggest just picking somebody just to be able to finish your profile and get the bonus points for it. So, Rookie of the Year. This is my prediction. My prediction for Rookie of the Year is going to be Connor Zilisch. And I say that because if I could put money on this, I would, but I can't because he's the only rookie in the series. So as long as he has a decent run and does his best, he wins Rookie of the Year because there's no other rookies. But if he doesn't start, if he isn't competitive at all and is like way in they may just not award one. But I doubt that. If he's going to be the Rookie of the Year. There's no other rookies. So it's kind of a weird thing. Normally there's at least 2 or 3. The good thing I like about the Rookie of the Year race is back in, even 5-10 years ago, rookies had a yellow stripe on the back of their car, and everybody knew, stay away from them. They don't really know everything yet. They've taken that away. So, I mean, they still know who the rookies are, don't get me wrong. But that was kind of just like, look, I'm a rookie. Then we'll go ahead and jump into my predictions for who I think will make the chase. Now, the chase is the final 10 races of the season. So it'll start in, I think, Darlington. The second Daytona race is the ending race of the regular season. I believe it starts in Darlington. And that's normally the Cookout Southern 500, which is a crown jewel event from our NASCAR. Now, I'm not going to put these in finishing position. I just labeled them and broke down the handy dandy piece of paper. I just wrote them down as I was going through it. So I don't believe this will be the finishing order for the regular season, but I figure I think these 16 drivers, the top 16, I've got 20 written down, and the 16 I give you are going to be who I think will make the chase. So I pretty much went with groupings of teams. So Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney is 5, Denny Hamlin 6, Christopher Bell 7, Chase Briscoe 8, Tyler Reddick, who drives for 2311 Racing, 9, 10 Ross Chastain, 11, Chris Buescher. 12, I've got Ty Gibbs, and I also have Ty Gibbs winning his first race ever this year. 13, Bubba Wallace. 14, I've got Kyle Busch getting in. This could be one of Kyle Busch's last few years. And I think he breaks his winless streak, and I think he gets it's not winning your into the playoffs anymore. So he still has to get points, but I think Kyle Busch gets in. I'm going to go with a wild card of Eric Jones. Drives for Legacy Motor Club, owned by Jimmy Johnson. That team came on at the end of last year, so I'm going to go ahead and go with Eric Jones to slip into the playoffs. And 16, I've got Carson Hocevar sitting in 16. The kid is electric. He ruffled a lot of feathers last year. We'll see how that translates to this year. But I think he's got all of the talent in the world, and I think he's in really good equipment. So we'll see how that plays out. Those are my 16. I actually have my driver missing it. Josh Berry, I had him pegged at 17th. Brad Keselowski at 18th. SVG at 19th, and 20th, Ryan Preece. I believe that I'm going with the top 16 I gave you, ending with Carson Hocevar. But I wouldn't be surprised if like a Shane Van Gisbergen, who I had pegged at 19th, gets into the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Berry gets it. Josh Berry ran pretty good all year. He had some bad luck at certain tracks. So, just pretty much my top 20, but the top 16 is who I think are going to be into the chase. I don't think my driver makes it this year. I would like to be wrong. But I'm just giving my honest opinion on how I think it's going to play out this year. Really, nothing else going on right now. Like I said, we got the Clash coming up, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Sorry, next week. Don't know what day yet. One day next week. I'll jump on and we'll do I'll kind of break down the Clash, how it works, what it is. And then we'll probably take a week off, and then I'll try to jump in on another night, probably the following Monday after the Super Bowl. And because Daytona cranks up on Wednesday with qualifying and stuff. So I want to get in early before then and start breaking down Daytona. I'll probably share my screen when I do my fantasy team, just to kind of show y'all how I select it and go along with it. We'll go through it all. We'll be doing this weekly throughout the year. Giving insight on the upcoming races, doing a quick recap of the previous race. Probably do that later in the week. We'll try to see if any penalties come out throughout the week so we can discuss or bring it up. Other than that, not really much going. Just, go see all the channels scrolling down there at the bottom. And you got, WTP for life. You've got Level Up Sports 10. You've got City League TV. You've got One Take Zaya. You got Post Game with his Post Game 86 podcast. You got Parlay Poe, who got the Blitzburg podcast. You got me, SEC Sean, does a little bit of everything. A little bit of high school football in Texas, a little bit of NASCAR, a little bit of hockey, a little bit of whatever. So just, go have a good evening, and we'll catch back up next week and roll through and get ready for the Clash to kick off the season and go from there. All right. Peace, everyone.